With tensions still simmering in the Middle East, global fuel supplies remain under pressure. In Tuvalu, the government has declared a state of emergency as it prepares for oil shortages. More than 90% of Tuvalu's energy comes from imported fuel. That and the growing impacts of climate change are accelerating plans to transition to 100% renewables. At the centre of that transition is Tuvalu's Energy Minister, Simon Kofe, and his message is as much about survival as it is about sovereignty. In 2021, he made global headlines standing knee-deep in seawater in a part of Tuvalu lost to the ocean, delivering a message the world couldn't ignore.
We're looking to the future and preparing now for the worst-case scenario where our lands disappear and our people must leave.
As one of the world's most remote nations, Kofe is leading Tuvalu's push to break its dependence on imported fuel. In 2025, Tuvalu's Prime Minister, Teo, announced it will transition to 100% renewable energy by 2030.
We raised our ambition to the highest level, showing that even the smallest nation can lead because of our survival, and that of the planet is on the line.
As the Minister of Innovation, he's also overseeing an ambitious plan to become the world's first fully digitised nation, in case Tuvalu's physical territory is lost. It's a bold, emotional and deeply political fight led by a man determined that Tuvalu will not disappear altogether. Joining me now from Tuvalu is Energy Minister Simon Kofe. Talofa and welcome to the Pacific.
Thank you, Johnson. Thank you for having me on the show.
Now this week, Tuvalu declared a state of emergency because of fuel supply risks and the impact it's having on electricity in the country. How bad is the situation right now?
We've been facing issues and challenges with our electricity grid and network. This has been something that's been ongoing for some time. But more recently, in recent weeks, we've experienced a lot of outages on the capital. Some areas going out for more than 20 hours. Our consumption of electricity has gone up by 50%, almost 50% in the last 5 years. So the grid and the network is really struggling to maintain that growth in consumption. We faced a big challenge as well with our solar, integrating our solar into the network. In fact, we've deployed and commissioned enough solar to be able to move us to 60% of renewable energy on the capital of Nafuti. But because we haven't been able to integrate that well into the electricity grid, we're back at square one.
So how long will Tuvalu's fuel supply last at the moment?
With our capacity to hold fuel on Tuvalu, we can last up to 2 months. We have a tanker arriving tomorrow, and so that should replenish and provide us fuel for the next 2 months, at least until June.
Ceasefire talks have failed and US President Donald Trump has now blocked the Strait of Hormuz. How do you feel about these global developments?
Yeah, it's quite concerning, and it's having a ripple effect across the world, and even remote countries like Tuvalu are feeling the impacts of that and affecting our day-to-day life. We are supplied through a company called Pacific Energy, and their supplies comes through refineries in Singapore and Korea, which also receive the supplies from the Middle East. So the war is having an impact on our supplies, and which is something that we're also very concerned about. We haven't been given any guarantees on supplies beyond June. So it is having an impact, but I think it also is a wake-up call to us here in the Pacific, but to the world, because it shows how dependent we are on fossil fuels and how vulnerable we are to such man-made crisis. So I think it puts the focus again on the energy transition and how important it is for us to move quickly on that.
Well, on Tuvalu's 100% renewable energy transition, the target is 2030. What's the update on how Tuvalu is tracking towards that target?
I think the update is that we've kind of gone backwards obviously, as I mentioned, the issues with the integration of solar energy to our grid. So yeah, it's important that we need the right technology and the right solutions that can meet our needs. We initially set 2030 for 100% renewable energy. We've moved that back to 2035. So that's the date that we've set. But I think we can actually do it quite quickly because Tuvalu is quite small. And you know, if we deploy a solution that works, then that could move us quite quickly. I mean, we've seen solutions in other places like Tokelau that went 100% a few years ago. So it's possible, and we're hoping that we can do that.
Now, it's been over 4 years now since your viral speech, Standing in the Water, addressing COP26. It was also a time where you spoke about developing Tuvalu into the first digital nation. What progress has been made on that project?
Yeah, it's amazing how quick the years have gone by. I look back at that speech and just see how optimistic I was back then. But you know, having gone through you know, all these meetings, COP meetings, and you know, my attention is kind of focused on what I can do and what our country can do for ourselves. Sometimes when you have high expectation of others, you get disappointed, you get frustrated, and you probably get more gray hairs and gray beard like I do. But yeah, the focus for me has been on the digitization work for the country. We've been quite active as well on the culture, how we kept our culture and digitize our culture. But it's also building and ensuring that those values do not change or do not deteriorate over time. And there's also work on the issue of statehood and maintaining the continuity of our statehood. That's also progressing well.
Simon Kofe, whakawhatai lasi for your time.
Whakawhatai hoki, Johnson. Thank you.